Digital Assets Summit. I know that many of you have been fighting for years for this, and it's an honor to be with you at the White House. I want to thank the White House AI and crypto czar David Sachs, Treasury Secretary. This is David right here, in case you don't know. You know David. And a man who's doing a great job as Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, who's right here. Scott, thank you very much. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, wherever you may be, Howard. Hi, Howard. He's doing some interesting work right now with all that's going on. He's right in the middle of it and doing a great job. Thank you. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler. And thank you. SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce. Thank you, Hester. Acting CFTC Chairman Caroline Pham. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Hello, Tom. Representative Brian Stile. Thank you. Brian, thank you very much. Digital Assets Council Director Bo Hines. Good, Bo. Great job. And many other distinguished guests. We have a lot of very distinguished people around the table. Some of them will be speaking. I want to thank Marco Rubio also, who's right over there. And we have tremendous people very interested in this subject. And last year, I promised to make America the Bitcoin superpower of the world and the crypto capital of the planet. And we're taking historic action to deliver on that promise, as you know, around the table. Yesterday, I signed an executive order officially creating our strategic Bitcoin reserve. And this will be a virtual Fort Knox for digital gold to be housed within the United States Treasury. That's a big thing, Scott. The federal government is already among the largest holders of Bitcoin, as you know. Really one of the largest holders in the world, with as many as 200,000 Bitcoin obtained via civil law and various other forms of law, and including enforcement actions. These existing holdings will form the foundation of the new reserve. Unfortunately, in recent years, the U.S. government has foolishly sold tens of thousands of additional Bitcoin that were worth billions and billions of dollars had they not sold them, but they did sell them, mostly during the Biden administration. And not a good thing to have done. From this day on, America will follow the rule that every Bitcoin knows very well: never sell your Bitcoin. That's a little phrase that they have. I don't know if that's right or not. Who the hell knows, right? Who knows? Who knows? But so far, it's been right. And well, let's keep it that way. The Treasury and Commerce Departments will also explore new pathways to accumulate additional Bitcoin holdings for the reserve, provided it's done at no cost to the taxpayers. We don't want any cost to the taxpayers. In addition, my order directs federal agencies to conduct an inventory of all crypto assets currently held by the U.S. government and determine how they can be transferred easily to the Treasury. Non-Bitcoin digital assets will be held in a new U.S. digital asset stockpile where they will be managed properly. My administration also is working to end the federal bureaucracy's war on crypto, which was really going on pretty wildly during Biden until the election came about. About 5 months before the election, he became a big fan because he heard how many people were in favor of it and how many people love it and respect it. But I guess it didn't work out too well for him. People understood what was going on and paved the way for groundbreaking innovations in institutional finance. Under the Bitcoin administration, regulators strong-armed banks. I mean, they really did. They strong-armed banks into closing the accounts of crypto businesses and entrepreneurs, effectively blocking some money transfers to and from exchanges, and they weaponized government against the entire industry. But I know that feeling also. Maybe better than you do. All of that will soon be over, and we are ending Operation Choke Point 2.0.
That's the president, of course, at the White House. Digital Assets Summit underway, where the president did call the United States the Bitcoin capital of the world, the crypto capital of the planet. And we're going to continue to monitor that for you, bring you any other headlines. But probably saw the president flanked by some cabinet members, also MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor, and the Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong there as well. Again, we'll keep our eyes peeled there, bring you anything you need to know.
Coinbase founder and CEO Brian Armstrong was part of today's summit, and he joins us now exclusively from the White House. Brian, it's great to have you back on.
Thank you for having me.
So you literally just got out of the room, and that's exactly where I want to start with you, because this is very much a 180-degree pivot from what we saw with the last administration, and in terms of the policy that's beginning to roll out. Your analysis of this moment we're in and how the administration plans to move forward.
Yeah, well, this is really a sea change for our industry, and President Trump has really breathed life back into this industry, and it's already having a positive effect in America. For instance, Coinbase is planning to hire over 1,000 people right here in the United States due to the resurgence of this industry, and so it's already leading to American prosperity. Now, he announced last night that there's an executive order to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is incredibly exciting because the U.S. leading on this front, I think, is going to cause the rest of the G20 to take notice and think about Bitcoin as a successor to gold. It's a new gold standard. It's more efficient. Government should hold a strategic reserve of Bitcoin, in my opinion. And so the U.S. is now on offense. It's leading, and I think the rest of the world is going to follow.
And the details we're starting to get are that maybe it's $17 billion worth of Bitcoin that have been seized and are being held by the U.S. government currently, and yet Bitcoin is under pressure today. Why?
Yeah, well, it's true. In the past, the U.S. government has ended up holding Bitcoin and other crypto assets due to various agencies and law enforcements that have a reason for it. But in this new strategic Bitcoin reserve, they're actually planning to buy new Bitcoin in a tax-neutral way or a budget-neutral way so that it doesn't affect the taxpayer. That's a really big deal. Now, I was surprised, as you were, if the United States government came out and said it's going to be a holder of Bitcoin indefinitely, and actually a buyer of Bitcoin in a budget-neutral way, I would have expected the price to rally even further. But whatever's happening in the short term, I'm confident that in the long term, this is going to be an upward trend for Bitcoin.
What are the details around how this reserve is stood up? For example, the custodian of choice. There had been some speculation going into this possible policy announcement that Coinbase could be in the running for that position.
Well, that wasn't discussed today, and I think that there should be a fair and transparent process for various companies to bid on that. But Coinbase has been a provider of crypto custody and trading services to the U.S. government proudly for many, many years, various agencies within the government. And so I hope that we get to throw our hat in the ring there as well.
Brian, what do you say to people who are disappointed that the government isn't committing to buying Bitcoin beyond a tax-neutral way?
Well, I wouldn't really agree with that as a criticism. I think that it's smart the way that they did it in a budget-neutral way. Otherwise, I think it would just raise questions about where that's coming from. But, I thought they were very smart the way they landed it. And in addition to that, the crypto strategic stockpile, they said we're not going to be going out and buying these. But if the U.S. government comes into possession of those through some other mechanism, they're going to hold on to it. And so I think they're just reinforcing that this is a neutral process, it's Bitcoin focused, and it's going to be fair and orderly and not cost the U.S. taxpayer anything.
Through him.
Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. Mackenzie Segal is back with that. Mackenzie?
Hey, John. So President Donald Trump's newly appointed leadership at the OCC has just released a memo that could significantly reshape the relationship between U.S. banks and the crypto sector. Now, in this letter, the regulator clarifies that national banks and federal savings associations are permitted to engage in a range of cryptocurrency-related activities, including crypto asset custody, stablecoin transactions, and participate in distributed ledger networks. Now, this is a notable shift. In the letter, it removes the requirement for OCC-supervised institutions to obtain prior approval before engaging in these activities, eliminating a key regulatory hurdle. In essence, this gives federally regulated banks the green light to handle stablecoins and other on-chain assets. Now, while the OCC isn't wasn't necessarily the primary regulatory roadblock here. This clarification provides important reassurance to the industry. That said, the Federal Reserve may still need to issue further guidance, and it's worth noting that not all banks fall under OCC jurisdiction, only those that are federally chartered. However, for the institutions affected, this is a major step forward in integrating crypto into the traditional banking system. Guys?
Mackenzie, thank you. So, Brian, does this mean more competition for you? Does it just mean more official embrace of Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think this means more official embrace of Bitcoin. You know, we saw a big issue in this prior administration. Some people refer to it as Operation Choke Point 2.0, where the agencies unlawfully, in my view, pressured many of the banks to not work with crypto companies. Everyone deserves equal treatment under the law, and there's now hearings happening to hold those folks accountable. And so, to me, this is a very positive development. It's encouraging the OCC chartered banks to work with crypto companies as they should, like any legal business in the United States. And so we want everyone in the world to integrate into crypto. That means every bank, every fintech company, every payment company. And of course, Coinbase can be the most trusted leader as the industry grows 10 or 100-fold.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back to the Truth Seeking Network. So I hope y'all seen today. Today was the first day of the first official Bitcoin summit. And Donald Trump has now signed Bitcoin as a national reserve for the United States of America. That is a huge move. And for everybody out there who thought Bitcoin was a scam, who thought Bitcoin was internet funny money, and all the naysayers out there, now Bitcoin is part of the United States Reserve, and also other countries around the world going to take notice. And now there's going to be a frenzy in getting into the Bitcoin and the crypto system, because the United States is the superpower of the world. And if they're stockpiling Bitcoin, other countries around the world are going to actually do the same thing. And right now, but here's the point. This video, my channel, this is the Truth Seeking Network, and I'll be telling the truth about whether it's history, whether it's stocks, cryptos, gold, silver, whatever. And it seems that for some reason, people just don't want to hear the truth. They love the lie rather than the truth. And that is a true statement. Because so many people around us, we talk to people to get them into crypto. We try to tell them, and they refuse to buy it. They refuse to buy it. It was just a couple of $1,000s. And I was telling people to buy it. And most people just stared at me, looked at me, and laughed at me. You know, Ethereum was under $100. You can get it for $50. And everybody just laughed. All these coins were down there, and people laughed. And they thought it was a joke. And they said, no, not right now. No, it's not for me. No, you're going to lose all your money. You heard so much stuff that people told you. But now, Bitcoin now is not just a couple of $1,000s. It's $86,000, $87,000, $88,000. This is fluctuating right now. But it went all the way up to as much as $108,000 per Bitcoin. There's only going to be 21 million ever Bitcoins. There's over 54 million millionaires in the world. It's not enough for each millionaire to get a full Bitcoin. And with BlackRock and MicroStrategy and all these institutional companies are buying up the Bitcoin, they buying them by the hundreds and thousands. So that number is getting less and less, and Bitcoin is becoming scarce and scarcer. And soon the price is going to reflect the scarcity of the Bitcoin. And the question is, where were you 12 to 13 years ago, when in 15 years got back, when Bitcoin was just a penny? Did you hear about it back then? Did you hear about Bitcoin when it was $5? Did you hear about Bitcoin when it was $10 or $100 or $500? When did you first hear about Bitcoin? And then the question is, did you do anything about it? Did you learn about it, or did you just laugh it off? Because I know I did. I laughed it off. I didn't laugh it off. I just didn't look into it because I didn't understand what it was. I thought it was just a bunch of coins. I'm like, why do we need coins? I didn't understand I didn't understand digital money or digital coins or nothing like that back in the day. But man, I wish I would have, because I remember hearing about it when it first came out, and I didn't even think to look at it. I remember on mainstream media they were saying they were making fun of it. They were saying, "What do we need this for?" So I was kind of listening back then. I was listening to mainstream media, but I know now mainstream media misleads you. And boy, I wish I hadn't have listened, because back then they could have got it for. I could have jumped into Bitcoin and got it there for pennies. I could have got thousands of them, probably a million of them. In the beginning, they were giving Bitcoin away. You could have just do a little puzzle or a game or something, and they were just giving you free Bitcoins, full Bitcoins. Imagine that now. Bitcoin is at 80 something thousand dollars per coin. And back then they were just giving them away for free. All you had to do is play a little game or do something and you got a free Bitcoin. But that time is past now. And man, I think back, I wish I can reach back in time. And I remember the things that I was doing back then. I was like, wow. And I was searching, but only if I had found out about Bitcoin, if I known about it, if I really studied on it. I wish I would have just bought some. But right now is that same opportunity for you right now. Because why am I saying that? Because Bitcoin is still under $100,000. It's projected to go into the millions per Bitcoin. Actually, one Bitcoin is projected to be $100 million for one Bitcoin. That's right, $100 million. If each Satoshi becomes $1, that means one Bitcoin is worth $100 million. So right now it's at $86,000 for a full Bitcoin. So imagine 100 million. So what I'm saying to you right now, you're still early. And here's the catch. You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. That's what most people are upset about. They say, well, I'll never be able to buy a full Bitcoin. Do you understand that Bitcoin, you don't have to have a full Bitcoin to become a multi-millionaire? If you got a tenth of a Bitcoin is 10 million Satoshis. That's right, 10 million Satoshis. What is a Satoshi? That's what I just said. That's what they call it. It could eventually each Bitcoin is full of Satoshis, and these Satoshis can amount to $1. And if it does, if a Satoshi ends up being the value of $1, then one Bitcoin is equal to 100 million. So my point is, you're still early. You don't have to have a full Bitcoin to become a millionaire. And right now, the countries, states, institutions, everybody are buying up the Bitcoin as we speak. And so this channel is for you. This channel is for the small person to stop laughing, because it's not the joke time is over. The joke's on you if you don't believe that Bitcoin is real now. You got all those prominent people, and those are tech people. You saw in the video with Donald Trump sitting at that table. Those are some of the brightest people. Technological people up there with AI and everything else. They're sitting at that table. And if you still think Bitcoin is a joke, then the joke's on you. Right now, if I were you, and I'm not a financial advisor, but if I were you, I would learn about getting into Bitcoin. I would sign up on Coinbase or sign up on Binance, whatever, and do your KYC and start buying Bitcoin. I would watch videos on YouTube on how to buy Bitcoin. Maybe I might do a video on here to show you how to buy it. But the time is now. You can't reach back 15 years ago or even 8 years ago or last year. But right now is your time. You can buy this Bitcoin at this moment. And it's projected to go into the millions per Bitcoin. That's why the U.S. is stockpiling them now. That's why all these corporations and institutions are buying them now. And that's why the United States is going to front run the other countries of the world and get ahead before it's too late. Because right now we're already behind. But the United States, because they're the richest superpower on the planet, they can also make up for lost time because they have the money to do it. But what about you in your life? Where are you at? And if Bitcoin is projected to go into the millions per Bitcoin, then what about you and your family? So right now, if you got $100, $50, $300, whatever, start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin every paycheck. You got $25. You got $50. You can dollar cost whatever you want. But just start purchasing some Bitcoin. Start purchasing some of these main crypto projects. Some of the ones that they named in that fund. They named XRP. They named Solana. They named XRP, Solana, Ethereum. So there's a few other ones they named too. I don't remember offhand. But the point is, you can look it up yourselves and start doing the research yourself and get into this. And lastly, I want to say the last 4 years has been the worst 4 years since I've been alive. It was the most dystopian time I've ever seen, where people were forced to get arm tickets and that, you know what I'm talking about, that thing in their arm. You weren't allowed to work unless you took something in your arm. You weren't allowed to catch a plane unless you showed proof of this. That was the worst 4 years ever under that president. And I don't know if some of y'all gonna get mad, but I'm just gonna speak out and say what I gotta say because this is the truth. That was the worst 4 years. That was the worst president I've ever been in my life. And under that president, they stifled innovation in this country. They stifled Bitcoin. They stifled the blockchain. And Gary Gensler, his name gonna go down in history as one of the worst SEC chairmen ever. And as it relates to crypto, he's gonna look like the Wicked Witch on the Wizard of Oz, or Gargamel on the Smurfs. That's him. And he's gonna go down in history as the worst. Because when innovation came, when Bitcoin and cryptos, and it's going to take over the world because the world is going digital, he's going to be the person that's going to look like. I just won't want to be him. I don't want to be him. I'm glad I wouldn't want to be that guy. You don't want to. His face is going to be that one that everybody's going to look at. Because right now he has a bad taste in everybody's mouth. But that was the worst 4 years of innovation in this country because it was a lack of innovation. That guy was the worst. And that whole presidency was the worst. They were giving money to other countries, billions to other countries, and left America in shambles. High food prices, high taxes, everything. You name it. And then that same president hired 80-something thousand IRS workers to go after average citizens. Remember, and they also, if you had $600 in your bank account, if you made over $600, they wanted to find out and they wanted to find out where that money came from. That was that last president. So I'm glad that they're bringing common sense back to America again. Because when my little daughter goes into a restroom, I don't want a man in the restroom with my daughter. Okay? And if she's gonna play if a woman boxing, if a woman she'll box a woman, she should not be boxing a male who claims to be a woman. So we just need common sense, and I'm glad common sense is coming back because this last 4 years has been the worst. And lastly, the breaking news you saw right here on the screen: the banks are also getting into the crypto and Bitcoin, the blockchain. So you can see this is real. This is not fake. And for everybody out there who still believes and still want to be on the sideline, innovation is happening right in front of you. And if you stay on the sideline, what is your family going to say about you in the future when they ask you why didn't you buy any? What were you doing, Dad? What were you doing, Mom? Why did you get any? Because the time is now. This is the beginning of a new asset class. The beginning of a new asset class. And you don't want any of it? You don't want to get involved at all? That's like the beginning of the stock market. That's like the beginning of the commodities market. And you right there in you right in the middle of it. And you're rather like, nah, I don't want to get involved. Nah, I care more about the football game that's on TV right now. Nah, I want to watch Love and Hip Hop. Come on, y'all. Wake up. The time is now. Y'all need to get in before the other countries around the world jump in. You still have an opportunity as an individual to buy Bitcoin and get some, and you can buy whatever you can afford. All right? It's happening, y'all. The Bitcoin Summit is happening. They signed it into the reserves now. United States is now holding digital gold. They're holding Bitcoin. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace till next time. And I'm out.